It's the podcast. It's Tuesday, and it's going to be a squatcha.
It's nice this morning. Me and Heather went on a long 1 hour walk.
Tomorrow, 91.
I thought it was Friday night.
Whatever. A day coming at us will be hot. Do you remember the Sears commercial? And their air conditioning went out, and he opens the fridge to cool himself down, and he says, they say today's going to be another scorcher. You said you call. I'll call now. Something weird. I think about it every time it gets really hot. I'll call now. Sears. Anyway, Sears is no longer with us. But it is Tuesday on the podcast. Corrie, what is the podcast about?
The podcast is about tips and tricks to grow your home cottage bakery or brick and mortar. Whether you are just starting off, whether you've been in the game for a long time, we bring it to your ear holes. Your ear marketing nugget. Know how. Little marketing nugget. You may bring this closer.
Marketing is pretty universal. What were you and I saying? We were saying, in regards to something, is at the end of the day, best product, best idea, best concept solves the world's issues. But if nobody knows it's for sale, it's worthless.
I know.
Like, I hate to say, even the best idea, let's travel to Mars and save humanity. It's like, who wants to invest? We got to sell it.
Let's travel to Mars and
Mars.
save
But Mars. If you say Mars. Mars the planet. Mars.
All right, I can get behind it. I'm willing to test the theory.
You can forget that the planet exists. Either way, however you want to say it. But at the end of the day, marketing makes the world go round.
It does. Marketing and sales make your wallet and you a little happier.
That made no sense, but in a weird day.
Marketing and sales make you happier?
I thought it was going to be kitschy, but it just kind of was like, make money.
Am I a kitschy person?
Make money, spend money.
Anyways, explain where we're a spinoff from.
There's a group on Facebook. It's called the Sugar Cookie Marketing Group. We tried really hard with the name. But we have now 46,000 and change bakers, of which those 1,100 are pending for the Vendy blending.
Yes.
Anyways, back to the issue at hand. And we get to see a lot of questions, comments, concerns from bakers.
Yeah.
And then we get to answer them on this podcast.
And what's cool is we can see it throughout the year. So we have ebb and flows.
We've been doing this for 4 years. Podcast for 3 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah. We started the podcast a year later.
Yes.
Really?
Well, I don't know. I can tell you right now.
I feel like we started like halfway through. I don't know.
When do you think?
Okay, I don't know. Because I only got into podcasts like weirdly. Not at the beginning. I used to listen to music.
Oh, I'm so sorry. The podcast was 6 months after we started.
6 months, yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
felt like it was
March 4th.
Pretty shortly thereafter.
Now it's 2024.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So we definitely see the ebb and flows through the months, through the years. So it's nice to bring
to the decades.
to bring the topics. Like if there's like off months, which is the J months, June, July.
We call them the doldrums.
And August.
January.
We can sometimes September. We can bring the tips and tricks so you don't feel so alone. So you can never say, is it just me? Am I just the slow one? No, we're all slow. So you can kind of see. And then when it picks up, you can kind of see.
Slow.
We're slow.
So today's podcast topic was Ask and Ye Shall Receive.
And a lot of people live by the mantra, if you don't ask, the answer is always no.
That is my ex-boyfriend. And his point, and he got a lot out of people. Now, did he abuse the system? Yes.
He did.
But the concept is there. If you don't ask, the answer is always no. Now, don't abuse that and be like, yeah, I'm just going to sell in the group. Can I sell in the group? Can I sell my house to also? But in business, it does require putting your neck out and asking. And the reason why we often don't ask is because of that fear of rejection. Absolutely nobody wants to be told
Nobody likes to be told no. I even get scared, and I've been in the marketing game for a while, to ask a question on a page.
In a group
and like
that's
for
not
fear
managed.
that no one is going to answer, or someone's going to answer rudely.
Okay, we obviously have very heavy set rules in Sugar Cookie Marketing Group, and I know a little bit of it's frustrating, but the trade-off is that it's a very safe place to kind of bear it all.
They don't feel pummeled with sales.
Check the files. There was this Facebook group. When we first started Sugar Cookie Marketing, we weren't the first to making a Facebook group, but there was this group, and it was called, I think it was called like Sugar Cookie Decorating for Beginners.
Yeah.
Right? I think it's still a very popular group. But then there was another group that started. It was called Sugar Cookie Decorating for Beginners, where you won't be told to check the files. And for some reason, that is the funniest thing to me.
What's the longest group?
It's so funny because it's just a direct shot. Like they weren't even trying to. That shade was.
Someone was told to check the files, and they said, "You know what? Not today. I will be creating a new group."
Yeah, Corrie and I were saying like there's so many groups for for the same hobbies, or businesses, and it's not that they shouldn't exist. It's that you find one that resonates with your style the most. So if you want heavy-handed rule enforcement, you're gonna love Sugar Cookie Marketing Group. You will be nice. You will answer this question. But that's what we see kind of in these groups is like, I asked a question in a car group and somebody was mean to me.
God forbid.
They were rude to me. And they said, stop being mean. I just have a question. So anyways, it's that fear of rejection or that fear of being told you're stupid or being told to check the files, I guess, that keep people from asking. But in business, you got to.
Sometimes in business, you got to put on your big boy pants.
I was going to say big girl panties.
Big girl's panties.
Whatever you need to put your panties in your pants, put them on.
You got to ask.
Yeah, so that is the thing. So we're going to start off with a list of things that we feel like you just have to ask for.
And sometimes you got to get your mind right before you're asking. You have to brace yourself that nothing's going to happen. No one's going to answer the call.
Yeah, it's going to be a no, but maybe a yes. You can't be like, I hope it's a yes and it's a no, and then it devastates you. You got to be like, it's a no, but maybe it's a yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So reviews, and we talk about asking for reviews so many times. It's that important. Corrie's fighting the battle.
Uphill battle.
Yeah.
Someone in the college, though, if you don't know, we run a group called the Cookie College. It's a paid membership, but we're able to dive a little bit deeper. It's Chelsea had, if you continue to talk, I'm going to read what she has written that works for her when asking for reviews.
Jess Clapper. She's in the college too, and she owns a farm with adorable pigs and sheep, and sometimes she posts about them.
She does.
But she had said that she was having such a hard time asking, like, people leaving reviews, that she got somebody with like an acrylic cutter or something to create a little hang tag, like a physical one.
I saw that.
And it has a QR code and says, please leave a review. And she was like, because it's so
like invested
like,
in there.
Here's something I have physically created. She said it generated a lot of reviews.
Here's what Chelsea wrote. Good for her. Another week of asking for reviews. Another 4 5-star reviews.
That's great.
Could you believe that?
No, I couldn't.
That happens to me in a year. She's doing it in a week. She's like, that's 8 reviews I didn't have 2 weeks ago. And all the time it took was 10 minutes on the Sunday. And here's the copy. Can I share the copy? It's so good.
Why are you asking me for permission?
I don't know.
Daughter?
This is basically what it says. One of my business goals this year is to build up my reviews. If you feel so inclined, I would be honored to receive a review on Facebook and or Google from you. Reviews truly help my small business thrive and encourage new customers to order from me.
That's great. She went directly in and asked. And I like that she said honor and it was my goal.
A goal.
In a way, she's positioned, hey, you can help. We're on the same team.
We're on the same side.
My goal is your goal. If you help me, we all win.
That's genius.
Yeah, it was very good. So when you marry all these aspects, here's the thing. You're not going to get the review. Walk in saying, for every 20 people I ask, I'll get probably 19.
I know.
I don't care enough to leave a review. But it's that one is where you build this. Because we were talking, my aunt and uncle are florists. They bought out a florist company. So the brand of this florist company has been around for over 100 years.
Yeah.
And they were talking about reviews and they were like, oh, you'll always get the bad review. It's just, but they're like, it helps us a little bit not to have a perfect review rating because when it's all 5 stars, it's not believable.
So I looked at her across the table and I said, I have no idea how that feels.
5 stars. But they were saying like they wanted a 4.8, which I actually agree is more proof in the pudding because we're not perfect. Look at this little man.
You keep talking. I'm just going to look at him because I don't get to stare at him all week.
We're going to also ask, this was yours for the sale.
So when I was selling...
The little man is the cat, by the way. I'm sorry. It's not a little man sitting all this.
When I was selling cars back in the day, if everything aligned right and they weren't pulling the trigger and buying the car, we were told to ask for the sale. So Heather, it really looks like this car has the 4-row seating for your gigantic... The limo is ready to roll.
I take it.
The driver is ready.
Come, Frankie. We must get it.
It looks like the car is the color you wanted. It's the year you wanted. It's even lower miles than you were looking for. The numbers look right. Your monthly payment is on point. So let's go ahead. And what's holding you back from buying this car today? And then you would be put on the spot and you'd be like, wow.
It's missing a rosies.
All right, well, we can add that on in our aftermarket.
So oftentimes, and it is hard to ask for the sale, when you're in the the dance of the pre-sale. Yeah. How much does it cost? How much do you got? What colors do you want? What colors can we take off? And then you finally get to that point where everything seems like it should be here, and then we get that hesitation from the client,
or the ghost drops in and you're ghosted and everything seems so good and you were about to make the sale. What happened?
Casper has entered the chat. You can say, hey, I'm ready to book this day. I've got somebody else asking for this day. I wanted to go to you. Everything looks great. I like that car maneuver.
What's holding you back?
We're going to get you to roll out the shop today. We'll get those keys in that ignition. But you can say, hey, are we ready to place the order? We're ready to go. And when you add just that little point of pressure, that little like, hey, if you still give them out, if you're taking
the way that I like to do it, because some people are like, well, I'm not booked and I don't want them to think I'm booked. I usually say, hey, I am finalizing my calendar and I'm trying to shore up this week that you're looking for. I either need you to pull the trigger or hop off the pony.
You got a lot of rodeo going.
I say, I just need to have an answer. If I don't hear back from you by 5 p.m. today, I'm going to just assume you went somewhere else.
Time
I need the door to be so solid
that you don't think they're going to come.
That say, when you come back and be like, okay, ready to pick up the cookies tomorrow. No. We shut that door a couple weeks ago.
I always say, write it as if the judge in a court of law would be like, well, she sat right here. It was going to be canceled. And it's like asking for that sale. One, it defines the end of that conversation. Yes. It eliminates the potential of somebody saying, well, I thought you took my order. Yeah. But it really allows us to put that tiny bit of pressure that may push someone over the edge. It works very well on me to receive that from somebody.
Yeah. It is called asking for the sale because you're asking for it. And you might get hit with a and you might get hit with a no, but you're going to have an answer. And that's where you can shut that chapter and move on and go forth and conquer a different sale.
In my ever exciting car buying experience from February, I had found the exact same car at 2 different dealerships that were in Connecticut, only a couple miles from each other, but I'm also 1,000 miles from them. And the first dealership was like, he had said like, hey, listen, we've had a couple, of course it's all a sales pitch, but it works. He said, we have had a couple people coming in to test drive the car, get their hands off my vehicle. And he was like, but if you put the deposit down, it'll take it off the website. So I was like, well, I'll just buy the whole thing. And they were like, oh no, I'm so sorry. We can only take the deposit. Ended up not even buying that car because they tried to raise the price in the last second. Turns out that's why they only took the deposit. And then bought the other vehicle. But that little thing of like, hey, we've had a lot of people vying for this date. And if you want to put your money down now, we can reserve that for you. That's the asking for the sale.
What you don't want is someone to be thinking about a date on your calendar and you've not closed the sale with them. And then someone else is like, okay, I'm ready to book for that day. And you're like, hold on, let me get back with this person first. Because this person who wants to give you money, first come, first serve, you're putting them on the back burner for someone who's kicking tires. That's why it's good as soon as the inquiry comes in to really nail it down and close the sale or move along with it.
I like to end in my pre-sale communications. I like to always kind of cinch every email with like, and we can discuss that once you guys sign up. So in business and marketing, the day job, it's a lot of like, I just have some questions. Like I just be my marketing coach. And I'm like, oh, would love to. And we could talk about that as soon as we get you onboarded.
So you're right. With cookies, I will not I don't design a set regardless. I'm making it up as I go the day before it's due. But I see people that will go into Procreate, create the set. And be like,
that is exceptionally nice of you.
Here's what it would look like if you ordered from me. No, that's like something you do after you've paid. I can invest some time in there.
Someone's like, hey, that's my sales pitch. That's how I cinch the sale. That's on you. When they ghost you got a whole set in your hands that you've designed. So time is money.
Yeah.
That's why I like saying, like, if it were me, not the baker here, I would say, here's a very similar set I've done for another client. Once you sign up, I'll get started on the design. Again, we're constantly, every email cinches them closer to like asking for that sale. Like once you sign up, on the other side of your money headed towards me is the promised land of cookies.
One day I got an order from a baker, or order from a cookie lady. She wanted cookies, but she had ordered from a previous baker before. That previous baker must have rolled out the red carpet because she had designed a set in Procreate. No. So this lady was like, oh, when are you going to send me the design file so I can approve it? I said, oh, honey. I said, I cannot draw. I said, if I send you something, you're going to say immediately no.
That's so funny because I think when I saw sugar cookies before I realized you guys were all projecting things, I was like, wow, you guys are artists. And you're like, no, we trace. Have you ever colored it?
Guys, hold on. My dukes are up. I'll fight for us all. You try.
Flip that image. But it's funny how that thing is. We had Corrie, the only reason I got to say you got to ask for the sale and cinch every communication with constantly moving is because Corrie and I used to not do this. And at one point we found ourselves in a restaurant with $100 check, and we were whining and dining these clients, and we had quoted this, given them the strategy. We finally took them out to lunch. They're like, wow, this is great. And they never signed it. So lessons learned.
Let me just wait.
Absolutely. 100%. That was exactly the comment. So ask for reviews, ask for the sale. Then Corrie adds this one, ask for social likes and engagement.
At the end of the day, we are fighting the algorithms. And sometimes it comes down to, hey, would you guys mind if you see my post to comment, to like, to share? Sharing is asking a lot of people because I don't share anything. But asking for engagement is okay to do. We're so wanting it, but sometimes it's okay to ask for it.
Here's the thing. Here's what happens. And Corrie and I talk about this strategy is pity parties work for a very short-term strategy. If you wanted to use this strategy to bump yourself up in the algorithms, I would make a pity party post right before you're about to launch a new product or a cooking class. Explain what a pity party post is. A pity party post is kind of where you bare your soul, and that, hey, it's not all roses behind the scenes. It's fighting for them. You'll see graphics get posted a lot like this. Like, if you can't buy from me, sharing is still a form of support. Like, those are pity party posts where you're guilt tripping your audience into taking an action, not buying from you. But again, social media, it's called engagement baiting, and it works sometimes. What happens, unfortunately, is it works so well that one time that businesses fall prey to, well, I'll just make these all pity party posts. And your audience is like, then this isn't a pity party. This is a pity college degree. Like, you're doing it so often that you just...
This is a pity rave.
So what Corrie's saying is every once in a blue moon, just the same way, it's a content
Here's
bucket.
A fun way to do it, and I'm not usually like a negative Nelly on pity party. You would say, if you wanted to, my husband said I can order some new cookie cutters if I get 15 likes on this post. That's a good way to garner it.
Yeah, using this thing on TikTok, it'll be a picture of this woman. And it'll be, because now you can upload images, and then you swipe right, and it'll be a text between her and her husband, and it'll be a picture of like a Chanel bag. I think it started with this lady she said, how many likes do I need to get on TikTok to get this Chanel bag? And he said, 1 million likes and Tom Cruise comments.
Yeah.
Like, it'll be something but it'll be crazy. It does so well because that's not necessarily a pity party post, but it's
a positive thing, and it's engagement baiting. You can do that. All right. And my husband said I could get a new mixer.
Yeah, you can't be like, guys, we get Brad Pitt in all this. But whoever the celebrity was, which it wasn't Tom Cruise, because I don't think he's even on social media. So. Whoever the celebrity was,
ended up commenting.
He said, the husband had said, this celebrity who I hadn't heard of before, it tells me he's gonna come and kill me if I don't do it. But then the comment section, it's the top comment is the guy, and he said, only today I'll come and find it. So that asking for social media likes, it would be a content bucket I'd tap every 3 months. And I wouldn't make them all pity party. I'd make them, hey guys, supporting me is this. One, I'd do a pity party saying like, hey, it's real in the field. It's hard to get out there.
If the slow J months.
January through December. Guys, I come to you today, J and June. So you can ask for social likes. You can ask for engagement. It does work. Corrie has trained her own family. All of us, my cousins included. If you see a post come up for me, get your butt up there.
If you reference the post and I go back and see that you did not do something with that post, you passed by it.
So all my family, whenever they see a post at their feed, they'll just give it a like, a comment. Rarely comments. Usually likes. Okay. Unless it's a meme. Then someone does a 3 laughing react emoji. So ask for social media likes, engagement. Ask for email signups.
Yeah, listen. Email is the #1 marketing resource. It is also the hardest thing to do.
You're going to say number 1.
They said it's the number 1.
It's high converting.
Number one. What do you think else is number 1? Podcast?
Number 125. Asking for email signups is great though. So every week, Corey and I have the Monday morning marketing meeting with the Miracles, and I go through all our metrics, another M, to see how May is going. And it is not. But so on that, I'll say, here's how many people we have signed up for the newsletter, which is wild because every email I send out, there's like bounces, which turn into unsubscribes when there's enough bounces. So we are always losing, but we're still growing slowly. And this week I was like, hey, we had 21 new subscribers. It's because I pulled that stunt last week where I took a picture from your collab and blurred it out and told people, if you want to see this, you have to sign up for the newsletter.
You guys are nosing. 21 of you.
Yeah. And when I don't post that thing saying sign up, usually I do it through the transfer sheet and blur out half the thing and I say, if you want this transfer sheet tomorrow, sign up. If I do not post that, there will be 0 signups.
Yeah.
It does not grow on its own.
The reason why is liking a post on Facebook, easy to do. You're already on there. Asking someone to sign up for your email newsletter, one, they're leaving the platform they're on and they're having to perform an action. That means brain cells are brain selling.
Let's think of the click. You have to see the post on Facebook. You have to click the link. You have to input first name and email. That's what I collect. And then you got to click submit. That's 4 steps.
Yeah, that's a
lot.
lot.
And we go to another website.
I know. So that's why it's so valuable. And that's why so many websites will give you discounts when you sign up for a newsletter. One thing I don't think I like and I think should be illegal is they'll be like 20% off if you give us your email. So I'll put it in there. And they'll be like, one last step, give us your phone number.
If you don't do the phone number part, you still get the
You don't get it.
I get it.
I don't get it all the time.
If a website was smart, it would still give it to you.
Yeah.
Here's a little hacky wacky. If you guys have a Gmail, I think this might only work for Gmail. That's all I ever use.
Okay.
And you go to a website and it's like first time subscribers get 10% off. But you've already bought from them before. Okay. The way that and this is throwing them off.
We're throwing up. Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. He's gonna do it anyway.
I'm sorry. I'm putting it
No, I'm not going. He's going to throw up regardless.
I can't just sit idle.
Okay, press pause on this.
Tell him what's happening.
Cat threw up. Heather's new to it. She doesn't realize cats do it all the time.
That's disgusting.
We're back. Welcome to the world of cat ownership. If my pets don't throw up at least once a day, I think something is wrong.
What's going on in that belly, man?
A little bit of everything. A little grass.
I wanted to come out the other
A little gas.
Would have been nice if it was that. So we said ask for email signups. You gotta just ask. I don't remember. I was making a great point.
That's all right. We'll go into the next one. Maybe.
Oh yeah, here's my thing. It was such a cliffhanger too. If you sign up for an email list and you've already signed up for you want the additional new member discount, but you can't because your email's already signed up and you go to type it in, it says you're already in the list. You can add a period anywhere in your email address of a Gmail and it'll create a new
So it would be in the Gmail part, so G.mail.
HeatherMiracle@gmail.com.
Okay.
Heather.miracle@gmail.com. Miracle@gmail.com are all the same email addresses to Gmail, but to those sign up forms.
But so I can't make an email that's h.ethermiracle@gmail.com?
What is your current Gmail email?
Corrie Mason 112.
Add a dot anywhere in between Corrie Mason 112. You can add 50 dots, periods, between letters.
But someone can't make that as an email address?
No. Yeah. So I signed up as Heather.miracle88, but it's like you're also Heather Miracle88.
Really? Really?
Yeah, so Gmail treats the characters and numbers as unique, but the periods do not matter to Gmail.
I'm glad you remembered that. That was a cliffhanger.
I didn't use that little... But
I will test
now, when you go to Amazon.com and you sign up for the newsletter, you'll get 2 emails. Because you signed up twice. They're the email newsletter centers. Like, we have 2 emails, Heather.miracle and Heather Miracle. My Gmail's like, these are all going right to you.
Interesting.
So you'll have to unsubscribe one.
Yes.
So that's a great way to see who sells your information. So let's say I only sign up for newsletters with h.ethermiracle@gmail.com.
Track it.
You can see when you start getting newsletters you didn't sign up for if it's using
Madukey's coming back.
The Fuger Podcast.
Hello, mister.
It
could have been a hairball. He's got a lot of hair.
That
little alert of hair.
Fuger Duker was still warm from his belly heat.
Yeah, because you let it hit the ground and 2 seconds later was out to clean it up.
You want us to continue the podcast looking at that just... Okay. Ask for understanding from your family.
Listen.
Setting expectations.
If there's a big one that I've had to learn over the years, it is this. Asking for understanding. Setting expectations each week. So I'll be like on a Sunday after I see what my calendar looks like, hey, hun, Big week, big bake week. Don't be asking me to do stuff.
So it is setting what happens when there's a lack. I always find that most arguments come from a lack of communication before the animosity was created.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a big week, like, okay, for example, I don't bake, but the Vendi Blendy takes up my night, then my day, then my night. And I'm on my phone a lot. But Corey, Summer, and I always end up going to the mall. But I'll say like, hey guys, just heads up. I got to be on my phone a little bit for this. So saying that ahead of time allows people to like, you didn't ignore me. I accepted the offer. Yeah.
Versus not setting the expectation and then they're thinking like, oh, I'm going to hang out with you this week. And you're like, I can't big order. Or you didn't even tell them what was to expect and they just don't see you at all. Like, I haven't seen you.
Yeah.
I like to be like, yeah, I have a big order this week. I'm going to be cranky on this day. I'm going to be stressed on this day, working on this day, and done this day.
That really does help. Or, hey guys, I have a pre-sale going. I'll just be on my phone to answer a couple questions. Or even when we're out to dinner, I'm so sorry. I'm going to put my phone on the table. It's just because, again, you have to police yourself. If you're always on your phone, that's not fair to force. Well, I told them. I told them I was going to ignore her forever.
I do that a lot. On pickup days, I'll have the house cleaned. Like I'll vacuum or whatever. So I'll be like, hey, you see where everything is laid out and our trash is hidden? Clutter is gone. I needed to maintain that for the next 4 hours.
Yeah. Another thing is running a business is difficult. And in the event that you have somebody who was an irate customer, it will affect your mood. You're human.
Yeah.
Telling somebody like, hey, I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong headspace. I just had a rough day at work and here's why, allows them not to think that you're biting their head off.
We had a client. They one time sent something that broke in the mail to a customer. We were not the customer.
No.
But boy, did they get like this irate email. And I'm like, I swear, like I thought he was
the irate email was nothing. Yeah, I think I literally said, well, at least that client's happy. And then we get this angry email.
Irate. So then like things get out of hand.
I think they addressed it and said, I'm not sure where the energy is coming from, but here's what we said we would do and here's what was done. And they are equal to each other.
Sorry, I had a rough package with a customer, something broke and I had to refund them.
And I'm just taking it out on you guys. Like, oh my goodness. So when he doesn't, what did you say? Hey guys, but I'm a little frustrated because this happened. That said, I've noticed this. That would have been much better because now we're trying to adjust this energy where we didn't create the energy.
Well, we're trying to see what did we do? What did we not do?
So asking for space from the family, asking for understanding when it's a busy week, asking for that when it's a busy season, letting them know, hey guys, mommy's got to bake for Christmas. Santa ain't going to get his cookies otherwise.
Yeah.
We going to pay for Disney with this, getting them in on that. I think we talked about that. Like, hey guys, if you're able to help me, here we get to earn this fun thing together.
I tried to do that with my son, like set expectations. Like, I got this order, so don't ask me to go to dinner. This is what he hits me with. You're always baking. I'm like, no, I'm not.
Oh, aren't you?
Save yourself.
Save yourself.
When I'm not baking, you're playing video games and I don't exist.
That's true. Now, Corrie is on her phone a lot and she gets very defensive when you bring it up. But I want to tell you, you're only defensive because people brought it up because you didn't set the expectations.
Listen, my expectation is your head is down.
This is Corrie.
Your head is down and on your phone.
Touch her phone addiction. She will fight to the death for that phone.
What I really like to do is be on my phone shopping for cookie cutters, listening to conversations. I don't know why I love that. It's my favorite thing to do.
So our family get together on Saturdays and just do nothing for 8 hours and then go to lunch, which is my favorite part of the week. And Corrie will be on her phone the whole time. But only rarely does she set the expectation. Like my dad finally is like, wow, Corrie and her phone are here, so we can get started. But Corrie had said one time, it helps me listen better when I'm able to just shop for cutters. I find it very soothing. So then we were able to be like, okay, you're not just ignoring us for 8 hours.
Yeah.
But
I'm processing, judging you guys quietly.
Ask for grace from customers. We're human.
Listen, things will happen. I just had something that happened last week. I hate when customers book so far in advance, months in advance, because the email chain is now so long. Right?
Yeah.
I need to jot it down. Here's the thing. She's scheduled for a pickup June 6th.
You know what I think you're sleeping on?
What?
That email signature bulleted list of a recap in each email.
Honestly, for sure. She's scheduled for June 6th months ago. Then when we reinvigorated the conversation months after, she changed it to June 5th. But when I had originally gotten her order, I put it down for
actively or
June 6th.
accidentally?
she actively was like, June 6th, June 5th. What if we just do June 5th? And I had agreed to it. Okay. But in my notes, when she originally booked, it was jotted down for June 6th. Of course, June 5th, I had nothing baked. She was like, what time do I stop by today? And I was like, oh, crap. So I went through the email chain.
You were just full of foul mouth today.
What did I say? Crapioli.
There you go.
Crapioli. And I was like, oh, June 6th. I said, oh, my goodness, I can see here 5 emails down. We changed it to June 5th. So I did.
Were you trying to go prove her wrong?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But I ended up saying, I could have sworn we said June 6th. It's in my notes, but I could totally have jotted it down wrong.
Did you had?
I had jotted because we had redone. How
embarrassing that you thought that.
What?
You told her that I had.
Yeah, then I was like, oh, if you can scooch it to June 6th, I'll throw in something for free. So she was super appreciative of it.
But Corrie asked and held herself accountable, but also saying like, hey, I'm not perfect. I messed up here.
And when she said, okay, I said, thank you so much for your grace.
That is one of the biggest issues I see. Here's what happens. We call them validation posts. And you know you're not allowed to post them in Sugar Cookie Marketing groups. So you guys run to other groups where you don't think I'm peering over your shoulders and judging you.
Heather's everywhere. Let me tell you. She's everywhere.
My exes don't know they're my friends. But what happens is you weren't looking for a solution. You're looking for validation that you don't need grace because it wasn't your fault. But in reality, dude, you're human, man. Have some grace on yourself.
Yeah.
We make mistakes. The client makes mistakes. There's mistakes going to be made throughout. Even the butter, how they make butters change because somebody made a mistake. It's just a mistake. It doesn't mean you're any less of a person. Yeah, it might touch your wallet a little bit, but we already have our oopsie budget ready to go.
But have great. You pay attention.
Is he gearing up for another puke?
No, he just poo-pooed. I just heard him scratching over there. Things are coming out. But you're going to need grace in business. You are human at the end of the day. So asking for grace when you mess up. If you spell someone's name wrong, listen, that's okay. The way that names are spelled nowadays, it's very hard. It's very hard to get it right. I spelled Isaac. How do you spell Isaac?
2 A's.
I spelled it with 2 S's. But there's also, I've had a customer that had 2 S's.
Whoever came up with the word vacuum, whoever came up with the word balloon, balloon throws me.
Yeah.
It's 2 L's, 2 O's.
You know what word I cannot spell for the life of me? Meringue. Meringue powder.
Meringue.
Yeah, meringue.
February. Wednesday.
So you're going to need to ask for grace, and it's okay to ask for grace. A lot of times we want to prove ourselves right.
A lot of it, I can see it. There's a thread that went up in the group this week, and the client's like, or the baker's like, well, I didn't necessarily do anything wrong. And I said, but we got the result that we didn't want. So trying to prove who's right and who's wrong actually just ends up with two very defensive people because we all got to say, if I'm right, you're the idiot. Yeah. And if you're right, I'm the idiot. So what we got to say is like, hey, it looks like there's just a slight misunderstanding here. There's a way to blend you're wrong and I'm understanding of that, so let's find a compromise. And that is, it takes a little nuance. But ask for grace because you're a person and people make mistakes, and you're no less of a baker if you make mistakes.
Yeah. And I think grace is okay to ask for. I love to thank people for their grace. To me, squeaky wheels shouldn't always get the grace.
No grace for that squeaky wheel.
I like to give the grease and the grace to those who are easygoing. So the lady being able to be like, no, June 6th is totally fine. I was able to throw in something for free because she was so gracious.
She was gracious. She got the grace from her grace. So yeah, just ask for that. And here's on the flip side, if you don't ask for grace, you're asking for a fight. It's not a 1 and back to 0. It's either a 1 to -1. Like it's not a
also in the Sugar Cookie Marketing Group, we are human at the end of the day. And if your post was deleted and you didn't do anything wrong, sometimes you guys come at us fighting.
When you add the word, I just don't understand. No. You're like, I just want to rake you over the coals for a minute.
Here's the problem. We are human. At the end of the day, we have 1 bajillion things going on. And sometimes reading a post, you can read incorrectly. I read things wrong all the time.
I read things backwards and upside down and act on them.
Yeah. So then sometimes if we delete the post and you're like, hey, I just wondered, what did I do?
I'm just curious.
It's okay if they say the word just.
What
did I do wrong here so I don't do it again? I love when people are like,
that's nice.
Oh, that's gracious.
But I'm just curious why I followed the rules and it was still deleted.
I know. But that's okay. We need grace. I'm saying we need grace because we're not always perfect.
I want to fight. Let's go fight out back. Okay. Ask for that cookie class space. I kind of feel like we say, I'd love to teach cookie classes, but I can't find a space. And I'm going to be like, I think you haven't asked for enough spaces.
Yeah.
There are the times when doors open themselves.
Yeah. Right? You're trying to have like a location fall into your lap. That never does. Just doesn't happen.
You have to put your neck out there. And people are going to be like, yeah, we're not interested. Or mostly you're going to be ghosted. But you got to keep asking. Every door knocked on, until you've knocked on every door and everybody has told you no. And you have written beautiful emails where you actually spoke to their benefit of this cookie class. You haven't actually opened all the doors. So yeah, you're not teaching cookie classes, not because your area doesn't want it, or not because you can't find a venue. You're not teaching cookie classes because you're worried about the rejection.
Yeah. And there's going to be rejection, especially if it's a new concept to somebody, like they've never done that before. They don't see the pauses of it. There's going to be rejection there, but you can't say, well, I can't teach cookie class, can't find a venue. Mm-hmm. Did you ask the venues? Did you ask them all?
I always find it impressive. Like sometimes on Reddit, I'm in these like car buying subreddits, and somebody will be like, oh, yep, I made a list of 30 dealerships that had this vehicle, and I called every single one, making my lowball offer until somebody was finally willing to play with me. And that person is actually very good at accepting rejection because they entered in that, saying, I'm going to make it so I'll mostly get rejected. But if the 30th dealership plays ball with me, then I get the car I want, and they were willing to make that. That's a person who's like, no isn't a no. No is go to the next company because somebody's willing to buy.
I want to say car sales, there's nothing that can prepare you more for rejection than trying to sell a car. How many people have said no is 10 times as many as people that have said yes. Yeah. So you get really close, like no's just one step closer to the yes.
Yeah. And that would really put some hair in your chest.
It really does.
But asking for the cookie class space, I think we're like, well, I emailed 5 different places, then email 20 more.
I know.
And it is obnoxious.
It is.
It's obnoxious to get the rejection. It's obnoxious to get the runaround. It is dejecting for someone to say, yeah, we don't think this is like a good idea. It's like, because I'll be like, oh, then I don't think it's a good idea either. And you've just confirmed in my head that I'm not good at this.
Exactly.
So what you got to say is, I'm a person who's going to walk away today with a cookie class venue. Whatever happens and however I get there is just par for the course.
Yeah. When me and Heather were first starting our marketing company and had 0 clients, we spent the first 3 months getting rejected.
Oh.
Wow. Ooh, wow. Like people, get out of my inbox. Like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. One of those days.
It took a while to find a footing where we were like, okay, this is where we actually have a really strong presence in terms of sales. So that was our kind of a strategy.
Yeah.
And that we actually worked better face to face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think we're more convincing when there's 2 of us talking at the same time. The voice. Just sign up if you leave. Ask for payment up front. I know that this one is a little antsy for people because they're like, so somebody came to the group a couple months ago and was like, yeah, I asked for payment up front, and they're saying they don't feel comfortable. And I said, we need to validate them because they are putting their neck out here, right? I had to buy a car. I had to wire the money. Didn't have the car, didn't have the title, didn't have the keys. And then the bank was like, hey, we got to actually legally ask you some questions. And I'm like, wow, this is wild.
It's like a scam.
I am spending a lot of money here and I have nothing to show for it. But asking for payment up front. So what we strategized with that baker for that client is, hey, I completely understand while it's my policy to get payment up front so you can go and secure these ingredients, I understand it's putting you in a precarious situation. So I'd be happy to give you some client references. You can reach out to them. Also, here's my review profile. It goes back this many years and it proves that at the end of the day, my job is to make you happy. And I'm not here but if that doesn't work for you, I completely understand.
At the end of the day, your policies are there to protect you. If you're making a set that's for twins and it has their names all over it, there's no way you can resell that. So getting the payment up front is going to save you heartache. And I know people have been baking for 15 years and never required payment up front, and they've never been burnt. But it only takes that one time to really sour yourself where you're like, oh, and I'm stuck with these twin birthday cookies that I can't resell.
Nothing is more awkward than a baker
chasing the payment after the fact.
But after the event was canceled.
Oh, yeah.
The client truly doesn't need it anymore. It wasn't really spelled out to them that these cookies have been baked and are done. And now they're like, well, I don't need them. And it wasn't written anywhere. So they've never paid you. They don't feel like they should have to. They don't need the cookies anymore. Although, that's very unfair of them. You also don't have their money. You have no leverage. Yeah. Also, I see a lot of times, this is probably typically what happens. Somebody who does 50 up front, 50 at pickup, because 50-50, in essence, you created an escrow. You create an escrow, but there's no escrow holding the money. When I used to sell websites, you'd have to use a website called escrow.com. I think anybody could use it, but they'd fund the escrow. So the money was not in their hands, nor was it in mine. And I'd have delivered. So we'd set deliverability milestones, like have you transferred the website to their hosting provider? Have you given them WordPress logins? Smart. Has this? And then escrow, once we both said, we've done it, we were both happy, escrow would release the funds.
And what, they take a portion or something?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They took a large portion of it. Escrow was the smartest person in the room. So when you do 50-50, 50 at booking, 50 at pickup, you created an unfair escrow against you. But I can see what you're doing. You said the clients,
you're easing their mind. We're both in it 50-50.
But what happens is they come and pick it up and they say, oh my goodness, my phone's not working. Then they ghost you on that 50%. And if that's not going to sour you, at least you got 50%. But
still,
payment up front, and then we'll handle their objections by making them feel comfortable. It's a lot easier to me than, because people are like, well, how should I get my 50%? They ghosted me. And I said, you're only hoping. You have to come to them on bended knee.
I know.
And ask for their grace to give you this. And you're going to grovel for it, because that's the predicament you kind of place yourself in.
And you have nothing to hold against it. They have now all the cards. They have the cookies. They have the cash.
Yep.
And you have...
They have you blocked.
And you're hoping they have grace.
Yeah, so that's what I'm going to say. Ask for payment up front. You'll see Corrie and I preach this every once in a blue moon. Corrie will violate her own rule there. Take payment at pickup, and then you always hate it.
It's just awkward.
Yeah.
Just awkward. But at the end of the day, I know, like, if it's a business, I want the payment up front. Like, last year with Neiman Marcus, they had ordered... He placed another order yesterday. Oh,
sorry.
It's
too successful.
500 cookies in 2 weeks. I'm going to have to kind of work them down. There's no way.
Eddie?
It would be Eddie, but still 500 cookies in 2 weeks is on top of people that have placed their orders months in advance.
Punish them with less
cookies, higher prices. But when it comes down to it, like, they ordered last minute to get he needed the vendor to pay part of the money. I did not like that feeling that I was now, like, in theory, chasing two different people. But to make the sale, to make it work, I felt like, oh gosh, my cards are no longer in my hands.
Yeah, and it feels precarious because you're about to set yourself up for the true loss.
It does.
Ask the SBA. Now, this is asking for money. This is asking for startup cash. I'm team, don't get family involved in business. If you need money.
As I say, you're in business.
And that's why I say not to. Corrie, don't you think you see why they say don't work with your family? Her dad was our client for a while, and it would be like, do you guys want to come for lunch? And mom would have to tell them, you can't bring up business because that's not why they're here, and they'll stop coming.
Yeah.
Yep, so hard at stop coming.
But sometimes you do need to ask if you have a brick and mortar as your forethought and that's something you are going for. Sometimes you have to put on your big girl panties and say, I'm going to
ask for a loan.
Go ask for these loans. I'm going to figure out the process. Now, we had Kim in the college just went through the whole SBA loan process.
And she said, oh my goodness.
She was like she teared up talking about it because it was so difficult and how much she had to prepare, how much they dug into her life.
Yeah.
But if that's a goal that you have in mind, that's something you're going to have to ask for. And it's going to be an uphill battle. It's not going to be easy. Money doesn't drop into our laps these days as much as we wish it did.
I'm team self-fund. Like, that would be ideal, but that's in a world where you're making money before you can make money, and that's really hard to do. The way you can kind of do that is setting aside, keep creating savings goals and safety nets. But let's say you're like, hey, I have this order for 500 Eddie cookies. I just don't have an Eddie. You could tell your family, again, you're going to need to spell this out. You're going to need to notarize and sign things. Make sure the expectations are set because those can go so left.
Yeah.
But if you need to ask for financial assistance, you got to just ask. It's not going to happen in its own way. I saw somebody probably at this point 2 years ago, and they're like, I want to set up a GoFundMe for my clients to donate for me to get an Eddie. And I was like, I don't think that's the space for this, because what we want those people to do is buy cookies.
Yeah.
But if you turn around and you say, hey, Uncle Fred, this is the thing. Here's what I want to buy, and I'll pay you back an interest. That might be worth it. Or, asking mother-in-law. I've seen people gift a monetary for that. And if you say, okay, well, I don't want strings attached, I want an interest rate, and it's with the SBA, you're going to have to kind of stick your neck out there. Or you take a signature loan from the bank. And that's probably going to be a little bit more cost effective, but that doesn't include these bigger amounts. So you got to ask for financial help.
Yeah. I don't want you to feel like, well, I've been doing this so long, I should know how to make the color burgundy. I don't want to ask. Sometimes when I ask a question, people are like, oh, I realize so you don't know everything. But at the end of the day, I don't know hardly anything. So it's okay to ask the questions. If you've been in business for a long time and you're like, well, I've never actually created an LLC. I've just been doing this as a hobby. Welcome. We have all started out that way. So it's okay to ask those questions. And our job as admins in the group is to protect you. We want you to get the answer so you can make the right decision for your group, for your business. So you aren't feeling like I'm feeling judged right now.
Right.
Yeah.
It is a lot to
put yourself
your
out.
inadequacies.
Yeah.
When you ask a question, you're essentially saying, here's a huge gap in my knowledge base.
I know.
And then what I always tell people, like, you can always turn off your own comments.
Yeah.
One, we can't even disable that. You can turn off your own comments if you got your answer and you don't want this to careen. I see a lot of people say, I want the most comments, but I don't want you guys to make it go left. So please do not client bash so you don't get my thread locked. But on the flip side, you guys can report comments that offend you, that are directed at you to belittle you. And an admin is going to review that real quick. If it comes from the wrong place, we'll get rid of it. Nobody will know.
Yeah.
No, anyone will be none the wiser.
I know some people get frustrated with a comment section that has been turned off. I just want to tell you, the reason why a comment section has been turned off is one, if the OP, which means original poster, has already made a decision and the post can go willy-nilly at any moment, well, shut it off because they've made a decision that's right for their business and there's no more things that you can say that can change their mind because the decision has been made. If the comments have gone sideways, we had someone who was like, there's nothing wrong with this comment section. Yeah, the reason why is because the admins
Did you see that 148 comments have been made, but when you expand the comment section, there's 5 left?
That's because the admin team works so hard to make sure that it is a safe space, that if we're deleting more comments than are going up that are helpful, we'll just shut the comment section off. It's to protect the poster, not necessarily so you have to be like, I was typing and then the post was turned off and my helpful comment wasn't there.
Super frustrating. I agree.
It is frustrating, but at the end of the day, our goal is to provide a safe space where you can ask those tough questions. Maybe you made a set that wasn't quite right. And what I don't want you to be met with is, if I was a customer, I'd be pissed too. That's not helpful.
Your language today
sorry.
on this
Is that a bad
word?
Who are you? I'd be peeved too.
Okay. No, nuggets. That's what Corey's husband says.
We don't want you to be met with those unhelpful comments because that's not what you came to the group for. But we want to create a safe space where you do feel like you can ask those questions. You don't feel like, if I don't know it, someone's going to judge me. No one's going to judge you. I mean, they might, but we're not going to let it go through as a comment.
Yeah, you got to ask some questions. And I always say, like, man, like I had this really dumb car question about the ever-loving window wasn't working. And people are like, oh, what a girl to be concerned about how fast the window goes up. And I said, sir, I'm just looking for help. I am just looking for someone to reach out and help me. So in these groups, they're so heavily policed for that reason so that you feel safe enough to ask a pretty vulnerable question. But yeah, if a comment, you're like, ooh, I think this comment was intended to belittle me, you can report it yourself and we can handle it. You can even cite the rule you think it violates. It definitely helps us and it's addressed very quickly.
Exactly.
Because we're not in every comment section.
We're in most.
Amy is.
Yeah.
Corey and I go to bed sometimes. Ask for strategic partnerships. Now, we covered this on last week's podcast with that collab. And if you sign up for the Wednesday newsletter because you were smarter than the average baker, you saw that sometimes you have to set up the collab yourself. And that's a great way to enter a community group and say, hey, guys, not selling. I'm a baker. I'm looking for collab partners. Here's what my idea is. Do we have anybody who sets up picnics? Do we have any event venue who wants to be?
What a way to align yourself in an industry that could really help you out and you could help them out while also getting your name out there in the community. If you're new to the world of baking, that's a great way to get your name out. A lot of times those collabs don't fall into your lap because I feel like me as the baker was like B team to that collab because the lady who had all the staging products, floors, she was the A team. So
whoever has the biggest thing.
I know she had a lot of logistics that she had to work out with. So sometimes asking for that collab, I see people in community groups, hey, I would really like to connect with party planners. I hate when they leave it ambiguous because then I'm going to click to their profile and find out they are a baker and I see what you're doing.
Be honest and create that trust factor there.
If you want to connect with real estate agents because you have really good closing gifts, sometimes you have to ask, hey, I'm looking for real estate agents. I got this cute set of cutters. I would really like to partner with them with closing gifts. I can really work last second with this set. And you can really, if you have an Eddie and you can put their face on the sold
I bet
sign.
you could generate an entire corporate girly era income stream from a strategic partnership of saying, hey, I'm looking for a real estate agent who has staging today. I'll provide the cookies. I'm just going to swing by and take a couple of photos. Probably you holding it with your business card.
Yeah. My one thing I found out with real estate agents and why I don't love them as clients is because it is very last minute.
It is.
So you like they're reaching out to you the day before like
freeze
the
and
open
thaw,
house.
buddy. Freeze and thaw, buddy.
You'd really have to think.
Eduardo Blanks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of that, last one, ask for an Eddie for Christmas. The worst they can say is you're insane. But in reality, ask for what you want. Now, Corrie is, okay, we always say the best person to buy for is a hobby, somebody in their hobby. But the worst person to buy for is someone in their hobby because you likely already have the products that
If you've been in the hobby for a hot minute, you probably have a lot of the equipment that you have not like told everyone about.
Right.
Like,
so I would create a list. Corey and I try to make a list every Christmas for you to accidentally send to your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
Oopsie, how did that get there? It just happens to be
Oh, did someone turn on the podcast a little too loud?
Did you see 2 and 5 specifically? How did those get in your head? But asking kind of for gifts. So it's Father's Day next week.
Yeah.
And Dad got into detailing. We call it Dad's Detailing, LLC. You can't find it. And I was like, I think we should get him something. We were going to just say, get him gift cards until he dies. But that's so, watching somebody unwrap a gift card.
Oh, wow.
It's probably what they want, but it's not what we want.
Now I have a job attached because I got to go spend this.
So I got him, if you're into detailing, a Tornador. I asked in a detailing subreddit about good gifts for detailers who are they're ankle deep
in
their hobby.
Yeah.
Anyways, but ask for what you want. Maybe say family. Hey, family. Guys, I know you love to support my baking business. This year, I'm looking to fund my Eddie budget. If any donation of any monetary amount would be great, and I'll cover the rest. But that would go so far. Yeah. So then you're not stuck with a million spatulas because I know what we give you.
I know.
You're kind of like, I already have this. Look at this.
So we do like to have a little bit of a list and asking for that if you want to bypass your birthday gift and combine your birthday and your Christmas gift to save up for Eddie.
I think it's a really great idea to kind of get what you want. Just kind of ask for it. Okay. Let me bring up our text messages.
If you would like to text us, the phone number is 571-556-5644. Without your text and emails, this little part of the podcast is rather sad. So if you want to just tell us what's going on in your business,
actually like this text question. It's directed only to you.
That makes me nervous.
I know. It says, Corrie, how did you manage living in the shadow of your twin? You know what? I'm curious about the answer. It says, Corrie, how did you get so good at photography? Please tell us about your photo journey.
Oh, that's a good one. So I actually bought a camera before I knew how to do anything. I just told Heather one day, I want to be a photographer. And what I would do is when my dog and my husband went on dog walks, I'd bring the camera with me and take pictures of flowers.
So the woman following you with a camera.
It was really creepy. I would take people's flower photos of flowers that were in their yards. Yeah. And what that really taught me was how to work with the sun and the lighting. Instead of the sun moving for me, I had to move around the sun. So I really got into how the lighting worked. Yeah. And granted, I was stuck with a bazillion flower photos that no one cared about.
I remember you posting those.
I did.
I did. Then I saw them got posted in community groups.
I did. But that really got I said, you know what? The flowers will die, but I'll have this photo forever.
Sending you to an external hard drive, never to be seen again.
Then I would take my dog to the dog park often. And I love taking pictures of my dog. Having a moving object, I realized it's not my fun spot. But really focusing on like having things with the lighting behind them versus in front of them. And that's really
so funny. That's the tattoo you got. Was that journey?
Yes,
the photo
part of my journey.
Now forever lasting on her arm.
I know.
Captured through the photo from which she was learning.
So it was definitely. I've always been a hobby person. I've had a hobby at all stages of my life. So photography was its own hobby before cookies was ever around, and then it just kind of morphed into there. So do I take pictures of flowers anymore? Sadly, no.
Cookies
and sourdough. And yeah, you know what? It gives me enough of my little taste test to both that I don't have to feel like.
So basically the takeaway is dig in, fail forward, learn from your mistakes, but stay consistent.
And Heather likes to call me a choo-choo train.
A locomotive.
I will figure it out.
And like a steam-powered engine, you can't get in her way or she'll run you over.
Yeah, but if you just take a camera with you to places for a while, I would take a camera with me every place we went.
It really helps kind of. And our older sister's into that too. She'll actually find a style of photo she likes, then backtrack the lens they use, the camera they use, the Lightroom preset they used, and the kind of the setup, and she'll recreate it that way.
Yeah.
And then she'll come and say, here's my idea. Here's what I took. How close do you think these are?
I will say, if you're looking to get into photography, sometimes if I'm taking a picture, I'm like, how would someone stage sourdough bread? Because sourdough is newer to me, so I don't necessarily know that world. You can just Google sourdough bread photography, and it will give you a lot of ideas. And from that, you can birth a style that you like.
But that's the same way graphic designers get inspo to create new logos. I don't know if you guys know what Behance is. I think now it's owned by Adobe or something. But that's an entire website of portfolios of other graphic designers you can draw inspiration from.
And I think drawing inspirations, I'm not someone who creates. Like, I can't necessarily think of like a design that's not a cookie cutter and form it into something, like the cookie cutter flips. That's just not me.
Those people are gifted.
But I can draw inspiration from styles. Yeah. And that has really
you can do
helped.
The same thing with photo setup. And so you're going to take your photo and be like, hey, I didn't get that blur in the background. Turns out they were using a higher powered lens with a lower f-stop. And then Corrie and I were actually talking about this morning. There's so many free sources to really take free YouTube channel courses on how to get this aesthetic that you want. So a lot of that.
I know.
That's a great question. I'll be waiting for the question directed at me next week.
How did it become so annoying?
Someone said, no question today. Just saying hi to my favorite twin. Hey, you. Laughing, crying emoji.
Hey, you. I know it's me.
These are from when I asked everyone what they had for breakfast. And
we're still going through this.
There's a lot of people answered the call.
Yeah, that was good.
Also, I had the same thing for breakfast.
Look, if you didn't ask, you wouldn't have gotten it.
Marketing question. Actually, Liz told us what she had for breakfast today. I wonder. Also, I have the same thing for breakfast every day. A chocolate PB protein shake because my husband wakes up before me and makes it.
That's so nice. I would drink that too if someone made it.
But here's our marketing question. Why can't my customers just learn how to read for Jesus' sake? Read the menu, please. That's a great point. And I was seeing absolutely this thread go absolutely sideways in another group where the client didn't, I think it was actually in our group. Great. The lady was like, hey, here's everything I communicated to the client and they're still not happy, but it's in my policies. And that's because we don't read terms and conditions. When was the last time you read a term and condition?
Sometimes I just scroll because I'm like, if they have like a heat reader on there, I want them to feel like I scrolled down to the bottom. I'll never read it.
How about those ones that you have to scroll to the bottom before you click OK?
I know. Every time you send something through UPS, you have to scroll to the bottom. Corrie.
And it's like, well, you scrolled, so you accepted. Nobody's reading anything. Yeah. And if they are reading it, if it's me, I'm reading it backwards and upside down. Like we're just not reading. So what the terms and conditions, I have my terms and conditions. It's just giving you another line of defense when issues arise. We were talking about it with our uncle who has a florist shop. And we were all saying, he was talking about insurance on cars and stuff. And we're saying, cottage bakers and the cars and commercial policy and Uber Eats and stuff like that. And he's like, it's never a problem until it is. And then all of a sudden you're pulling out those terms and conditions and saying, Ruth Ann has a homeowner's policy and they send her just an honest book. And she's like, how would I even know what all this says? And I said, you're not going to need to read that book until the tree falls on the house. And then you're going to see what you're covered for. Yeah. Nobody ever reads. If you feel, and Corrie and I talked about this on a podcast, if you feel like something's going to go left because you can tell that this client's a type of way, it'd be nice to bring that one policy into line. Yeah. To just kind of hedge your bets.
And you'll get a feel for the client that you know that you'll have to bring it to light. Yes. They ask a lot of questions. They use specific colors.
They say, I'm coming to you because my other baker has always been booked. Yeah. What do you think that means? The baker blacklisted them. And now they're coming to you. So that's a little warning sign like, okay, be hesitant. Yeah. What are my red flags here that I should bring this policy to light? And a lot of times it'll be like, hey, once payment submitted, the changes are locked in. Yeah. A lot of people have like too many change logs. I had this client and they kept making changes. And I was finally like, hey, the change log stops at 5. 5 sheets of changes. And then you're on your own. So make sure you get them all knocked out. Oh my goodness. The last change log was forever long. But that's something to kind of keep in mind. But rule of thumb, ain't nobody reading. They're not reading. So which is why everything we talk about in the podcast is emailed in a newsletter, which is also posted in a Facebook group, which is also posted in a group. On a page. It is just so many times we try to get out there because the odds of somebody reading it are slim to none.
If you want to, Heather does, and I will regret saying this, a good job of emailing with a bulleted list. If you wanted to, just as they're getting ready to pay and you're sending them the link and the invoice to pay, say, I just want to reiterate some things that you have done, and then have a gold, like a bold section that says the colors are not, the colors will be as close as I can, but they might not always be perfect. Just reiterate the biggest things that clients have issues with. We do that for
our cookie classes. So a week out we send, and if you sign up for the cookie class kits or you get the kits, you'll get that email drip campaign. I send it out every time the exact same way. 7 days out, it's kind of an expanded bulleted list of like, hey, just things to keep in mind. And then the day before, it's like, hey guys, just keep in mind if you don't show up, can't process a refund. So still try to show up even if it's late.
Honestly, if I would have done that with the lady from last week who I told to pick up on the 5th, and if I would have been like, okay, just covering our bases here, you're due to pick up on June 6th, she could have been like, no, you said June 5th. And then I would have been saved.
I had to pat myself on the shoulder. I made an offer, maybe, I don't know if it was a little bit, I thought it was fair, on 7 different cars, right? That's 7 different email communications, and everyone was communicating a different way. So at the end of every response, I would say, hey, this is just for my records. Here's the vehicle. Here's the VIN. Here's the mileage you said it was, the color. This is really for me to read.
Time on your hand.
And here's the price you've quoted. Here's the price I've offered and the price you've accepted. So when they started trying to like, well, and I was like, yeah, no, reading back through my bulleted list. So that's something to keep in mind. I really like the idea of a bulleted signature. Like your signature always has the recap of that order in it. It is redundant, but by the last email back and forth, you and the client have agreed to that bulleted list.
Which can keep people on the straight and narrow.
Okay, let's move over to the Cookie College. Thank you for the text. 571-556-5644. You can ask Heather a question this time. Go ahead. We're waiting. Moving on to the Cookie College. We had
a new class. 2 new things that dropped in the college.
2 new things. Corrie, I got to give her compliments on this one. People in the Cookie College, granted it's Cookie College.
Yeah.
Corey's gotten into sourdough, and she said, do you guys want to learn sourdough, whether to bake for your personal family or add it as an option, or, which Corrie uses it for, she gives sourdough starter and bread away in community groups, and on those giveaways, she attaches her business card for cookies.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ways you can use it, but at the end of the day, bread is amazing.
It is bread.
And the sourdough bread has me in a headlock.
I know, I made some last night for myself.
Yeah. Can you make me some more chocolate chips?
I do have a ton of discard that I need to buzz through.
Oh, yeah. Right here, buddy. I'm the buzz and buzz right through me. So Corrie made this comprehensive, and I got to say, she went through so many iterations of it to add more information. You make chunky courses, buddy. I make you some chunky courses.
I know.
So that class dropped on Friday. It's Intro to Sourdough. And also that dropped on Wednesday was the Cookie Class Kit for July, which is Christmas in July. And so many people have been seeing great responses for that specific class.
I think a lot of us Christmas folk really do like that 6 months. Hey, Christmas is approaching.
Corrie came over the other day and was like, it's Halloween in my head. Summer's over.
Yeah, I was ready for winter. Ready for winter.
You and Hoblob.
Yes.
Like, we're at Valentine's Day next year.
I know. It's because Hobby Lobby doesn't celebrate Halloween, so they have to skip over it. Yeah.
They do fall.
But they will not do a bat. Really? You will not find it in there. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
They said it's the devil's holiday.
Hoblob has a boundary, and they said you're going to fall. Target says we'll pick up where you left off.
I know.
So you can check out thecookie.college.com, and there's 5 different memberships. If you want the Cookie Class Kits, it's included in the Cookie College level membership, which is our highest membership. It's also included in the Cookie Class Kits membership. So when you sign up to these memberships, you don't just get one class. You get in the Cookie Class Kits, you'll get 7 classes, all our 2024 classes. And if you sign up for the Cookie College for just a few dollars more, for just one trip to a Dunkin' Donuts, you can get all the classes for 2023 and 2024 and that sourdough class along with 82 other courses that we offer. It's a lot. We've been doing it for years, so there's a lot of content there. There was a thread asked in the main group, gonna honk my own horn right here. And it was a lady, and she was like, I'm so interested in joining the Cookie College. I just would like some feedback from actual members. And I was like, well.
I will say she also isn't a cookie decorator. She's a cake baker.
So I said, listen, I know I'm biased, so I can't answer the question for you, but I can post this over in the Cookie College group and get some of them to give you an honest answer back if this works well for a non-baker.
Yeah.
And like I said, marketing is universal, but some of the comments there were absolutely so nice and positive. And their biggest, and I read through it myself, let me see who didn't like it. The biggest takeaway is that the community over there is so safe. And it's because it's a lot smaller than 46,000, we're able to really dig into the weeds of the nuances of either setting up DMARC records or either purchasing a domain name, or I've had a problem with my Google Workspace. How do I configure this? So, and then also just kind of fun. These are my coworkers. This is my water cooler talk.
Yeah.
So that is a Cookie College. You can learn more about that at thecookiecollege.com. Coming this summer, towards the end of the summer, is a template library. So if you like how we handle clients through the way that we write, we're going to create templates for various scenarios. And I think we're looking at 30 scenarios right now, from either I got a 1-star review, or I want to get a review, or a client was a no-show, or somebody needs to cancel cookie classes and after that threshold. So this template library will be included in the Cookie College. It will not be a membership, but it will be an a la carte thing.
Yeah. And if you're wondering, how do you guys know the answer to this? To these questions, to these scenarios, it's because we've been through them.
If you find yourself taking a client out to lunch and they haven't paid you yet, learn from us. So, and again, templates are just meant to be jump off points. You can restructure them as you please. But I'd like to think we've been doing sales and marketing for ever.
Yes.
That handling clients and still coming out with both on top. A lot of these will be compromises where a little bit of loss, but mostly win for both sides is the goal.
Yeah.
And you're going to see, run for the refund, because that's going to solve a lot of those issues as well. But you're able to tweak that, and that'll be coming out later this year. I'll make some posts about it.
Absolutely. So we're excited for that. The next Cookie Class Kits theme is plants. Little did I know, plants was all that you guys wanted in life. It was Amy who came up with the plants thing.
Amy sent this message, and she was like, hey guys, I think one of the kids should be plants. And I was like, underwater basket weaving after that? Like, what is this random idea?
Yeah, it was definitely harder than I thought to come up with the designs, because there's different plants.
I'm guessing you got a terracotta,
there's only
green, white, and brown?
There's 2 greens.
2?
Yeah, 2 green colors, and then white and terracotta.
That'll be an
you got a little
class.
hanging plant. I don't know what the plants' names are. And I labeled them to sweet pink olive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, I gotta come up with
I know. So I'll have to show you.
I gotta brag on myself. The Christmas in July class, we called him Santa. We called it Hanging Mistletoe, because this was Ginger Brad. What was the other one? They're pretty funny.
There was a surfboard.
Oh, I don't remember what I called the surfboard.
I don't remember what you call them.
You talk, I'm going to pull it up.
But if you're wondering, the July Cookie Class Kits just dropped. It gives you a month runtime, so you can teach it all in July. Month and a half, depending on when you teach. If you want to teach it at the beginning of July.
If you're going to teach it on July 4th. We had Santa round the palm tree. So it was supposed to be a play on dancing around the Christmas tree, but that got too long. So Gingerbread, Hang Mistletoe, Mr. Sandman, which was a snowman made of sand, and the North Star fish.
Yeah.
It was a hard one.
It's a cute set, though, but I've seen you guys been posting about it. I think people are pretty excited about it. Definitely, Heather did not watch the videos.
No.
In the videos, I show you that you need to bring an additional piping bag that has a small tip cut in there, and you're going to use that for the fine details. It's in the videos.
Put that in your list?
It's in the videos.
Okay, but not everyone watches the videos.
You're going to have to watch the videos.
That document that you sent.
Going to watch the videos.
Yeah. Whatever, man. They're going to come and they're going to be upset. Maybe make a post about that.
Okay, I'll make a post.
Moving on.
We
wanted to have a Vendy Blendy segment.
So we're just dipping our big toe into the Vendy Blendy segment because it's good to market.
How many pendies do you think we got?
I already checked. It was 1,100 something.
1,108. You just checked. So the way that the Vendy Blendy works, someone's like, I've never heard of this before. This will be the 4th year of the Vendor Blendor. It started off as people are like, hey, it would be really cool if on Black Friday you guys could get, because you guys have a little bit of pool, because we had the group of, 15,000 members at the time, see if people would offer us a discount for that day. See these cutter shops. So we're like, okay. And everyone had a blast.
Yeah.
It was a lot easier back then. I think our first Vendy Blendy, we had 32 vendors. And it's grown since then. So now that the group has grown, so has the list of potential shoppers.
I want to say the first year was like 20-something.
Yes, okay. It was 20-something, then it was 42, and then it went to 7.
Yeah.
It might have been 45. So this year, we're increasing the discount you guys get to 25% just because we need this to be a banger, really.
Yeah, but we are lowering the vendor fee.
So before you think that we're money-grubbing vendor hostages, we're saying, hey, let's not put that higher fee in to pay for 2 printer giveaways. Let's only do 1 printer giveaway. You guys pass the discount on to you guys who are listening, the pendies.
I think that's very fair.
Yeah, and then, but this will be a bigger sale because what we thought last year is that some people were like 20% off all month long. And we're like, oh, that's not it. That wasn't very fun. So we do 25% for a day. It's only a 5% increase from usual. You get the money back as a vendor because we're not taking so much.
And
your
sale
price.
Only has to last 24 hours.
Only 24 hours. And in fact, I bet vendors, if you trust the process here, the reason why AE Core Backers always runs 30% is because they know it makes more sales that way. They only run it for 1 day, 30%.
Yeah.
And everyone else was running 20%. So it put them as like one of the tops then. And then like Mixer Skirt was like, I'm doing 50%.
I know.
And Whoopsie's like, let's just
I know. I know.
The vendors who realized the bigger discount they gave, the more they got.
I want vendors to think of this as part of your marketing budget.
We're gonna spam 46,000 people, 7,000 emails. Those go out the emails go out every week. The podcast, it's listened to thousands of times a week, and it's posted to every week.
I want to say the amount of videos I made because vendors could send in anything and I would feature it.
Corrie made TikTok and Reels and posted them to the Facebook page. And I think you posted them to the baking group, which also has 16,000 members.
Yeah.
Our page has the 100,000 people who follow it. The Instagram has now 30,000. I mean, this is the marketing move. But okay, like we're like vendors, please. But they're like, girl, make the form. We're ready to sign up. And I said, oh yeah, I haven't done that part yet.
I want to say for vendors just listening, when you sign up last minute, it's hard to feature you when the Vendy Bunny is the next day.
I love that you signed up last minute, but you're not getting the most bang for your buck.
You aren't.
You are capitalizing on the sale itself, which is.
But there's so much more than just the sale day. How many times we feature you in the emails, on the podcast, in the group.
I do Facebook Lives and go through your all's websites.
I know. So definitely put your marketing cap on for this one, you Vendies.
This will be the nerve. We're actually vendors, and I'll be returning this year. So
there was that good last year.
We'll be coming back. I actually ran a bigger sale than the 20% off minimum, and saw great results from it.
We'll be running some deals and steals. So Heather will get that form up when? Soon. What's soon? Ish. What's ish?
I'll try this week.
Okay, good.
Worst case next week. Get people signed up there.
Going to what?
Okay,
going to our people who make this podcast possible. Without these
from viewers like you.
From viewers like you. That's very old. If these people weren't here to sponsor the podcast, this podcast would not be around. Let me tell you that. It's a labor of love. Our first is Eddie, the edible printer. He is what we referenced on our list. If you want to add him to your Christmas list, you will not regret it. I had an Eddie order last week. Customer absolutely loved it. It was a new med spa opening up, and she wanted her logo printed on cookies, and she was obsessed with them. And it was so easy for me. I was able to charge more than I do for custom cookies, and it was
It hits a part of most people's business model that they haven't tapped yet, and that's corporate. I want scale. I don't want cute, and I want to see my logo a million times.
So Neiman Marcus contacted me yesterday. They're having a partnership with Capital One.
Really?
Yeah.
How in the world are they blending those?
I have no idea.
Man, listen, finance those shoes.
Yeah, and he wants Eddie printed Capital One credit card cookies. So I have to quote him for that, so that'll be awesome. But what Eddie is, he's a direct-to-food printer, so he prints directly on food. So if you are into macarons, he can print on the shells of macarons, which it makes it great for wedding favors. You can print their cute little, what is it when you have just the first letters of the names? Monograms right on there. Any florals, so cute. He prints on M&Ms. Those are great if you were having an open house and you wanted to print someone's little real estate logo on there. Adorable. He prints directly on royal icing. That's what I use him for in my business. Right on the tops. He works like a dream baby.
Yeah.
Love him. And he prints on other stuff. So a lot of people are pushing him to his limits.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. But he is you can get so many prints per ink cartridge. He's like a printer, so you do have to eventually replace the ink. But oh my goodness, love him. But you can find out more about them at the Eddie Printers user group on Facebook.
Yeah, they have 40 thousand members. Yeah.
I know. I remember when their Instagram had like nothing, and when I followed them, I was like, they'll love me for that. Now they've surpassed us.
Listen, you little plug. Get your little grimy ass over in.
Take us to Royal Batch.
Royal Batch by Bakety Bake. If you're like, just give me the code. It's code TWINS at checkout for 10% off. That'll cover your shipping.
Mm-hmm.
It is a meringue powder. You guys know how to spell it now. It's a meringue powder that has everything you need to get that soft bite without that icing spread. Granted, your little area is going to have humidity, so factor that in. But Corrie actually said she solved icing bleed. She's cracked the code.
I would say my bleed happened mostly in the summer, and it's because we live in a swampy area. It's so humid in this area.
Yes.
I realized that when I took a little tablespoon out of the meringue powder, because if you read the back of the bag, it says 1/3 cup of meringue powder. And I would take a tablespoon out because I'm a slower decorator. It would crust too fast on me. I needed to also take out a little bit of the water that was mixed with, whisk it, and it has just eliminated color bleed.
Which you have a lot of color bleed PTSD. Every summer, Corrie gets into the stupor, and it's like, it's icing bleed season.
It is.
And then the other day, she was like, I think it's finally been solved.
Like, when it hasn't happened, and I'm like, wow, I'm not waking up running to the cookie room and checking it. Oh, my God.
Lester does sales are at all time low because Fred need to cover it up. But Bakety Bake meringue powder, it has corn syrup, it has
white food coloring,
and it has, this is a test.
Corn syrup. Oh, vanilla extract.
Vanilla extract.
Wow.
All the 3 things you need. You can learn more about that or order it at baketybake.com. And they have now the tester pouches.
She did have a discount for Mother's Day and has run out of the 1 pound in the 5 pound bag.
Turn it back again. So I guess you can only taste.
Let me see if they brought it back. You talk while I type.
I have. This is the first week with the cat Franklin. I call him
Franklin Delano. Oh yeah, they are out of stock on everything. I'm so sorry.
Oh, even on the package.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh man. Corrie post if you listen to the podcast.
Give us more meringue butter.
That would be something you want to stock up on. I know she ran the discount during the Vendée blending.
She did.
I wonder if she'll come back for 25.
I wonder
if you're listening to this.
I will. Yeah.
And then she gave away a 5 pound bag, but she was like, oh, I can't actually be there that day. Would you mind doing it? And I was like, yeah, I completely forgot. Someone was like, did Bakety Bake not have a giveaway? And I was like, oh my goodness, that was me. I am the gift.
Do you have a Twinterest?
My Twinterest? What's my interest?
You want to talk about, you said it yesterday on your live that you want to talk about what you walked into there, the debauchery over there.
Ellen's house?
Yeah, you said I would talk about the fish on the podcast. That's what you said.
This wasn't a Twinterest. So, my next door neighbor has somehow accidentally thought that I've been Corrie this whole time. It doesn't matter how many times I introduce myself or say my name.
Here's the thing. She has my phone number.
She has Corrie's phone number, and she thinks I am Corrie.
Uh-huh.
So she'll say, like a normal person, could you watch the cats? I'll pay you while I'm gone, which would make sense if I was her next door neighbor, but she's texting Corrie lives nowhere close. So Corrie's like, finder's fee, you do the work, Heather. I'll text her back saying, okay, and you give me 50% cut, which is completely unfair. If you're angered, so am I. So, but it's easy money. I got to pay for my own cats now.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, okay. So the neighbors go out of town. I go over. They have 2 cats that are absolutely fun.
Hamburgers.
They're on diets. From when I first started to what they eat now, they're very much on a diet.
Uh-huh.
They're some chunky boys, but they're very friendly.
So
I go over, and then the job is feed the cats, scoop the poop, give them water, scratch them, and then turn the fish light on and off depending on the day and give them a pinch of food. That's the only job. So the first day I come in, pinch of food, cats.
I want to tell you that we've been doing this arrangement for a long time.
Yeah. It works out well. It works out really well. And the fish are fish. Like, you're not petting them. I'm not looking at them. They hardly even come to eat. But I just, out of the corner of my eye, something, like when your gut reads before your brain does? My gut was like,
something wrong.
Look closer. So I'm like, they had just gone out of town the night before. It's not like I'd been doing this all week. I look at it. The fish are upside down. Their eyes are rotten out of their heads. They're all dead. And I fed them that morning. So the food's still floating on top because nobody was there to eat it. So I'm like, this is going to be, like, this is the question. Again, it's not, you don't need a policy until some animal dies. I know. I don't know if they're attached to these things. But judging by the amount of algae in there, ain't nobody was looking at these guys. They were those pink ones. Like, could I have just gone to the store and gotten them again?
You could have.
But they would have been in the same water as the old ones.
Well, You could have gotten them the night before they returned.
I think they passed away the minute the people walked out of the house. So I called Corrie and I'm like, hey, I think the fish, I don't think I know. These fish are upside down, belly up, eyes no longer.
One is suckled to the filter.
Yeah. It's not a pleasant scene, but I'm like, blood on my hands. No. That's like, you need it. Corey's like, no, don't ask, don't tell. Blinders on, just let him walk into the graveyard. And I was like, no, Corrie, because she's going to say, your job was to look after my animals, which would require looking at them.
So I had to do a weird old text. I just went like, no, the fish are not moving a lot.
And she texts back, oh, I should have cleaned it before I left. So kind of in a way she knew, but I can't believe you're going to let them walk into that carnage.
I was 1,000%.
So when Corrie came this morning, I said, get your butt over. I want you to make eye contact with a lack of eyes.
There was no eyes to contact.
Yeah. I've not been feeding him. I have been switching the light on. I don't know. It feels weird. So that was my crazy stories that Corrie was like, continue to feed. Let there be 2 layers of food on the top.
And Heather said, let there be light. And that would light.
Just wild. Do you have a twin twist? This is also our first week with Franklin.
Franklin Delano.
He's 6, right? He's behind?
No, he's not.
Oh. He's 6, right? So at 6 years old, a cat has gotten his quirks and they've cemented. He's not, like, they're like, I don't like that treacle. Why don't you like this treacle? It's a treacle that cats are supposed to love. You don't like it? I bought him a TV set cat box. Like, it's in the shape of a TV, got at Walmart. I assembled the thing. The dude acts like the thing never exists, but he lives in a house with a cat head on top. So he likes some stuff.
That's how animals are.
Oh my goodness.
My dog is bougie, only eats bougie treats.
Your dog is bougie because you trained him to be. This dude was found outside. Why are you questioning shelter at this point?
That cat was someone's
there's 2
cat
roofs over your head. If you get in this cat TV box.
What's so sad, I can't believe, Heather was on live yesterday and I could hear it for the first time. The cat's not a meower, so you can't like go up to him. He's not going to meow at you. But he has these little cat terrors. These little night terrors.
He'll fall asleep, which is mostly what he does. And in the middle of sleeping, he'll start meowing, but asleep. Then finally it wakes him up and he's startled.
The little baby. They said he was attacked by a coyote, so I think he's having some bad
He stares out the doors a lot. I think he's like...
Little baby Kate.
Yeah, so I'm teaching the Facebook Live in the Cookie College, and it's like, meow, meow, meow.
I know.
Baby, you're still here, man. You're still not sitting in that house I found you.
So stinking cute.
What's your twin twist?
My only twin twist is I got into brown butter Rice Krispie treats.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want the cookies. I want that.
No, they're different. And one of
both. Sorry. I want both. Speaking of marketing, okay, you know what? Corrie makes cookies, but you got to get her on a good day. If somebody had made one, she didn't think you ate enough while she was there, you're not getting on the list. So I do like Cheryl's cookies. Cheryl's
up there.
Conglomerate.
Is there some Cheryl's up there?
Yeah. I like
Wrap this up.
I like those cookies for sure, right?
Yeah.
There's something about the way they taste. If you like those Walmart ones that never expire,
they're
you're going to love
different,
Cheryl's.
though. They're different.
You're going to love Cheryl's. It's more sugary. Those ones are a little bit more
They're
dry.
more cakey.
Yeah.
Cheryl's is a little bit more buttercreamy.
Oh, it's delectable. Even the thought of it, Pavlovian response, I'm drilling here. So I go to checkout. When I'm just shopping the sale here, I don't care what they look like. I want them in my body.
Yeah.
I want them in my mouth pie hole.
Uh-huh.
So I'm checking out, and it was like, okay, like here's the box. I think I got Patriotic red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
And then it was like, hey, it's $15 flat rate shipping. There's no disc. The shipping never changes.
Shipping.
$15.99.
Which you got like what, a pound or something?
You just buy the box, like it's a set. Like even I was like, let me get 2 boxes so I can have them for another event. And it was like we just shipped 2 separate boxes, so both boxes.
$30? Whoa!
So I was like, well, let's take off a box. Thank goodness I did. I made some money. And then it was like, or $15.99 per box for shipping. Or you can join our Passport membership for a year for $19.99, which is free shipping.
And you're ordering more than once a year.
Yeah. So they got me coming and going, man. If I buy a box that was $30 and I pay $15 for shipping, or buy a box that's $30 and I pay $20 for the membership and never have to pay for shipping, technically it pays out. Of course, they're making money hand over fist, and they've got a recurring customer now because I got to place 2 orders to make my money back.
Speaking of the segment, you do need to talk about the cookie con thing, but I will say, Heather, Campbell, Brookshire, and Kim Delime. How do you say her middle name?
Kim Mem Sims. That's what I say. It's not her name.
They sent me the cutest little bracelet that says favorite twin. And I'm going to tell you guys, you're not supposed to send gifts when you are the birthday gals. You're just supposed to receive it. But they sent me the nicest thank you cards that said thanks for baking from their husband. The OG man of great gift giving said, I don't know what to give my wife and to Kim, and I really need to knock it out of the park. But he contacted me. Imagine me sweating, making these cookies for these bakers that are better bakers than I was. I had to. And I've never shipped anything before in my life. So I was like, it's the most wonky. I had so much plastic wrap that I found, but they were so nice. And then he left me a 5-star review, which was so kind.
It's so funny because is Kim and Heather, they must have very close birthdays, I guess.
About a week apart.
And Heather writes in the Cookie College like, oh, thank you, Dave, so much for this gift. It was so nice. And then Kim's like, yeah, my husband says, wow, that gift was so good. I wouldn't even have thought of it. She's like, I
know. But talk about
so Cookie Con is in September, which oddly felt far away, but now I feel like it's just we're in June, July.
It's one of those J months.
3 months away. It's one of them. It's in September. So that Cookie Con is September 17th. Now, here's my mistake, and I've since corrected it in the event listing. I put Eastern Standard Time. They're going by Cookie Con's time, so it's actually Central. So it's 5 Central, so it would be 6 Eastern, which we wouldn't care. You would be there if you're trying to do a time exchange. But Heather Campbell Berkshire and Kim Mimson are running that. Corrie and I won't be there. We have a conflict, but the energy and the sugar cookie marketing brand will.
Yes.
And so you guys can stomp in there. It's a great way to kind of get a tribe if you don't know anybody. And you don't have to be in a membership of anything. Mm-hmm. Likely you're going to hear about this because you're in the sugar cookie marketing group. So find that good uplifting vibe, get you some people, and then spend the week with them at Cookie Con.
Yeah.
Super fun. I'm going to say, I think personally everyone should go once at least.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It was a blast.
It was so wild.
There's so much stuff to do.
I love telling unsuspecting strangers about Cookie Con.
Heather will fit into every conversation. I have a mailbag from Michaela. She has actually been with us.
Michaela Pindro was in 10th grade, right?
16. However, 15, 16 age range. And she's been with us. She's my mini-me.
We met her at a first Cookie Con.
We did.
That was in 2021.
Wow.
So we launched at Cookie College, go down to Cookie Con. And she comes up to Corrie. I think you had been talking to her online. It's kind of wild to meet somebody when you're just little circles on Facebook. And she started this business and now, go on.
She wrote a letter because our little baby girl is graduating and going to college. She says, Corrie and Heather, I wanted to take a second to thank you so much for all your help, love, and support, kindness, generosity these past few years. You both truly swept me under your wing and taught me so many lessons, not only business-wise, but personally too. I would list each and every one, but I don't think this card is big enough. Haha. She's so cute. I truly can't even begin to express the impact you both have made on me. I wouldn't be the person and business owner I am today without you both. I can't wait to take all your lessons and skills with me as I begin at the University of Dayton, studying the best major ever, marketing.
That's so great.
I know it's a bit of a drive, but if you were up for the trip, I would love to have you both celebrate with me at my graduation party, a celebration of not only my own achievements, but a celebration of everyone who has helped me get to where I am today. I owe you guys the world.
That's nice. It's so funny. I love their family. Their parents are hilarious. They have one son, one daughter. And they like go to Cookie Cons together. I think the first Cookie Con we met the dad.
Yeah.
Then we went to Cookie Con, Ohio, because they must live around there.
Yeah.
And the mom and the dad and the brother and her had made it like this family trip. So they came to the networking event. They were so funny. They're so fun together. And the mom's a total vibe. It was funny how many jokes she had. But that is the podcast this week. We'll see you again next week. And then Corrie and I will be on the annual Twin Beach trip.
So are we not doing a podcast?
I don't know. We'd have to record it on Monday.
I don't know.
If we do it on Sunday for Gal's birthday.
Oh,
yeah, Ruth Ann is turning 85. Here's the thing. Ruth Ann doesn't like cats. That's the biggest thing. That's what she wants to be known for. Franklin comes in and she's like, I genuinely like him. Then he threw up everywhere. Well, nice for the I'm going to go eat a Cheryl's Barrels cookie.